Welcome back to more Pikmin 2. Last time, we finished up our first trip to the Awakening Wood, so this time, we're moving on to the Perplexing Pool. Good morning. The white Pikmin are lodged with the purple ones in my hull. The two types are sleeping well and do not quarrel. I have made them most comfortable. You can call out the white Pikmin by standing in the light beneath me and pressing A. On a separate note, be wary of overworking yourselves. Taking a break can be courageous too. To retire early for the day, press plus and then press right on the D-pad. For today, we want 30 white Pikmin and roughly 40 to 50 red Pikmin. You don't want to max out your numbers, at least to start out this day, for reasons that'll be obvious momentarily. Look, off in the distance! Wild Pikmin! Can you see them, Captain Olimar? They are Yellow Pikmin. You encountered them when you crashed on this planet, correct? It would be most helpful if they remember you, like the red ones did. Yes, most helpful. So our primary goal for today is to reunite with the Yellow Pikmin. First things first, we actually want to clear out some enemies. We have some Shearwigs, which are basically like shear grubs, but are a little bit tougher to deal with because if they get to about half health, they'll actually start flying and regenerating health. So you want to defeat them as quickly as possible while they're on the ground. Also, throwing Pikmin right by water is slightly nerve-wracking, but we got through that. Next up, we want to make our way along this path, ignoring the yellow Wollywog for now. This area might look very familiar, and that's because, like the Awakening Wood, this is basically a remixed area from the first game. This is the Distant Spring, so like where the Yellow Pikmin are now is basically where the Armored Cannon Beetle was in the first game. So here we have a new type of obstacle, a scale. The way this works is, you can basically move to a higher ledge using the scale by weighing down the other side with enough Pikmin. So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to dismiss Louie, and then use this red Pikmin to weigh down the scale, and then get Louie to this higher ledge, and then toss the remaining Pikmin up. Olimar will rendezvous with them a little bit later. For now, let's head over here. We have a swooping snitch bug, a very annoying enemy from the first game that's slightly less annoying in this game, again, partly because of purple Pikmin. Fighting them without purple Pikmin is still more than doable, though. We have a new type of Bulborb, actually, the Fiery Bulblax. This is fought similarly to the red Bulborb, where tossing is the best method, but it's also a little bit scarier because we have to use red Pikmin. We can't use purple Pikmin because it is actively on fire, making this a little bit intimidating, but we got through that fight, no problem. Next up, we have another snitch bug over here, so let's deal with... Actually, first of all, let's get the white Pikmin to work on this wall, but this might take a while, so let's actually try out the spicy spray. Astounding! The heads of the Pikmin are glowing, and they seem extremely agitated. The Ultra Spicy Spray appears to increase Pikmin's speed and attack power. What a discovery! So with the ultra spicy spray, they should be able to tear down this wall in no time. So with the red Pikmin, let's work on some stuff over here, like the enemies and the bridge. What is this? A strange, mold-like botanical entity has spread across the ground here. Interesting. I'm detecting other plant life suffocating beneath it. We'll investigate that a little bit later. First of all, let's deal with the enemies. Be careful when fighting fiery blowhogs near water. You want to make sure that they're facing away from the water, so when they actually try to knock Pikmin off, they send them forward and not into the water. Wow, they're actually already done with the wall, so let's get the red Pikmin started on the bridge, and then try to meet up with the yellow Pikmin, and try to build up their numbers. Hence why I decided to leave some extra spots in our squad for today. The yellow Pikmin have climbed down the tree and are staring in this direction. They appear to like high places and seem to be quite light. They also have very large ears. If I had named them, they would be called Ear Pikmin, but I will use the name Olimar gave them. Curious, my static electricity sensors are reacting violently. What could this mean? We'll find out what that's all about in a bit. For now, let's actually collect some of these pellets. Again, the white Pikmin do not have their own onion, so if there is a yellow Pikmin carrying something back, they'll basically assist to that onion. If it's only white Pikmin, they'll basically carry it back to whichever onion they randomly choose. If you call the Pikmin off of something they're carrying and then put the Pikmin back on, it might also change the randomness of it to the point where the Pikmin start carrying it to a different onion, which in some cases is actually a good thing. So the bridge is almost done, which is good, so Olimar is in position to meet up with the rest of the group. So yeah, let's start collecting these. I also left the fiery bulb blocks on purpose because that will give us a ton of yellow Pikmin, and we actually need quite a few. Yellow Pikmin do have some extra utility compared to in Pikmin 1. They are so lighter, but there actually aren't bomb rocks anymore, at least ones that the Pikmin can pick up. So that move is actually gone, but there is a new attribute in its place, one that I honestly think is a lot better. Alright, so we have 20 yellow Pikmin. Let's actually get them some nectar over here. We don't have that many, so having them all flowers will definitely speed up some things later on. In the meantime, we have a few options. We can either explore some caverns, see what this is, or we could collect a couple treasures in this little area here. Actually, I want to break this right away to get started on something very important. Yeah, there's a treasure here, and there's also something up here as well, where the UV lamp was in Pikmin 1. A completely optional treasure, actually, or ship part in Pikmin 1. So let's have Louie start to work on collecting some of this stuff, and then we will see what these plants are. They are actually slightly different than the plants in the Awakening Wood, and are extraordinarily worth investigating. So yeah, let's start carrying some of this stuff down. This is actually kind of tricky because of the Pikmin potentially falling off of this narrow ledge. Luckily, that worked out perfectly fine, especially because there's water now. I don't remember there being water in the original. Let's actually call the yellow Pikmin off and then switch over to the white Pikmin to carry it back. We also have these little enemies here that will actually eat the berries. So we want to defeat them as quickly as possible, because we want the berries for ourselves. So yeah, with these white Pikmin over here, that's actually not quite enough. So we'll use the remaining red Pikmin over here to help carry this back, along with seeing what these berries are like, because these are different than the ones in the Awakening Wood. So one plant is taken care of, but the other one is still being worked on, and now there's the process of carrying everything back. So in the meantime, let's also try to toss some Pikmin up here to collect this part, or this treasure on this ledge. I keep interchanging ship part and treasure in this game because of those being the main collectibles in the series up to this point. Astonishing! This purple berry contains an ultra-bitter essence. It does not appear to have any monetary value, but I shall research potential uses for it. Bring me another specimen. Well, this feels familiar. In the meantime, let's actually carry back some of this. Our first treasure of the Perplexing Pool is the Gherkin Gate, worth 100 Pokos. As I was saying, let's collect some of the enemies to build up our numbers a little bit. I thought there were a couple of these little enemies around, so I'm a little bit confused by that, actually. It is a shame on the first day of trying to get Yellow Pikmin that the Yellow Onion is this far away. It's not exactly the most convenient thing in the world actually building up our numbers, yeah, when we have to carry things all the way over here. And, like, other than the bridge, there's not really a convenient way to get from one area to the other, which is kind of a shame. The berry should be back by now. Next up, for 50 Pokos, we have the Impediment Scourge. Captain Olimar, I have completed my research on the purple berries you discovered. Behold, the Ultra Bitter Spray. It's untested, but I believe it will be highly effective. Approach enemies and press 1 to spray them. When necessary, I can produce 1 bottle of spray from 10 berries. Press plus to contact me, and confirm your berry count by pressing left on the D-pad. We'll have to test out what this does later on. In the meantime, let's actually do some exploring. There are the remaining bugs, by the way. I thought it was odd that only 1 appeared. Meaning they'll actually start eating the berries, meaning we won't be able to get a full set of 10 berries from these plants. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to defeat these just so they don't eat the berries in the future. And then I'm going to leave some Pikmin in my party to actually swarm them as soon as the enemies drop, like so. Also call them off. But yeah, we'll collect more berries later on. We'll have a good chance to do so in a bit. But for now, let's actually do some spelunking. These don't really give us many Pikmin, so I'm not overly concerned about collecting all of the Shearwigs and 1 pellets. So yeah, we should be good to go with our current squad. I'm going to put away 25 red Pikmin, and we have 25 purple Pikmin, so that should be enough to reach a full squad of 100. So with 100 Pikmin in tow, mostly flowers at that, we have a cave entrance over here behind this yellow Wollywog. We actually don't need to fight this, we can actually just sidestep it like so. Xert, my sensors are giving up foreboding signals. These signals could very well mean that this hole is filled with wretched, nasty bugs, vicious program terminating bugs. Our next cavern is the Citadel of Spiders. Alright, for our first sub-level, we're actually starting out with a ton of eggs, which is actually kind of nice because we actually do have a few leaf Pikmin. Also, we might be able to find something special from these eggs now that we've discovered some sprays. You can occasionally find sprays from the eggs, and if you do, there's actually a glitch you can perform to collect multiple sprays. I'll hopefully be able to demonstrate that. Hopefully we don't go this entire playthrough without seeing this at all. That'd be very unfortunate, actually. And that is a very fast and efficient way to get sprays in comparison to actually harvesting them using the berries. So I'm kind of taking my time because there are sheer grubs in this particular floor, at least from what I remember. Something I was thinking about is Pikmin generally don't trip as much in this game, which is really nice. They do still trip a little bit, but not nearly as much as in like the first game. The AI in general is a little bit better. It's not perfect. The Pikmin can get stuck on things occasionally, but in general it is way better than in the first game. So they're actually taking it the other way, so I didn't actually need to defeat those enemies. I just wanted to be on the safe side. This is going to take forever, by the way, so let's actually switch things up a bit. By the way, at the beginning of every cave it shows an indicator of what hazards are in each floor, or in each cave. So there's fire and electricity. For this particular cave, we actually do want white Pikmin, but not for poison, for something else, which should be obvious given the white Pikmin's abilities. But yeah, we actually do need white Pikmin for this dungeon, or for this cave, even though the indicator says there's no actual poison, because we don't need them for the poison protection. We have a 40 Poco tomato called the Love Nugget. And it looks like that's all there is on this floor. Next up, we have a yellow Wollywog. So let's actually try to fight one for the first time in this game. Like a lot of enemies from the first game, Wollywogs were actually pretty scary. They could very easily crush a lot of Pikmin when fighting them. But we have purple Pikmin, so if you can actually stun them right away, there's like no actual threat from Wollywogs. Again, it is sort of fascinating how much purple Pikmin trivialize a lot of the returning enemies. So let's carry back another lid. This is the Creative Inspiration, worth 100 Pocos. I realized I said lid when it's actually a bottle cap. I actually feel like the music in these caverns is actually really weird. Like, it feels very not atmospheric like most Pikmin music. It definitely stands out, and I'm not entirely sure if it's in good ways or not. There's another Wollywog. There's also a ton of Dweevils, as they're called, if I'm not mistaken. These are fiery ones. Basically, use purple Pikmin, and you'll have no trouble whatsoever. Wow. There are a lot of them here. You're supposed to match elements a lot more than you have to in this game, which is, to me, one of the biggest shortcomings of Pikmin 2, is how little you actually have to pay attention to elements. because purple Pikmin are really strong and can kind of power through everything. By the way, if a Pikmin catches on fire or gets poisoned, you have a chance to whistle at them to basically save them. Same goes for water. If a Pikmin falls in water, you can save them by whistling. So yeah, because of that, and because the geysers are breakable, yeah, you really don't need red Pikmin very much. Like, the Fiery Bulbul Axe is a great example of a time when you actually do genuinely need, red Pikmin, because nothing else can fight it unless you can find a way to extinguish a Fiery Bulbul Axe. We have a little lipstick called the Lip Service for 50 Pokos. And we have one more treasure here, but it's in kind of a weird spot behind this fire geyser, and also with this Dweevil nearby. At least I think that's what they're called. To be honest, I'm actually really unfamiliar with a lot of enemy names in Pikmin 2 specifically. I feel like I remember the Pikmin 1 enemy types more because, frankly, I played Pikmin 1 a lot. And even though I played this game a lot too, I do feel like I have less nostalgia for it compared to Pikmin 1, partly because I feel like Pikmin 1 is more replayable in terms of just being a more concise adventure, but again, we'll definitely see that later on. And we have part of a rubber ducky named the Paradoxical Enigma for 80 Pokos. So that takes care of this floor, so we're free to move on. Next up, we have to deal with some electricity. This is our first time seeing electricity in the series. Yellow Pikmin are immune to electricity. This is called an anode beetle. It's actually kind of trivial if there's only one of them, because the way they attack is they have to have a connection between two. So if there's one by itself, you can very easily defeat it with only purple Pikmin. It's a little bit scarier when there's a bunch because they can actually chain electricity. Also, the captains will take damage from most elements, like fire or electricity, at this point, so be a little bit careful about that, because you definitely don't want to get zapped. Captains can lose all their health, which basically takes them out for the duration of that day. They will come back on the next day, but for a game so built around multitasking, losing out on the captain is actually really bad. Not that's the end of the world, in all fairness, because you do have unlimited days. Yeah, like there, they basically chain electricity together. We're here, so let's fight this with the yellow Pikmin. Let's try to break as many eggs as we see, again, because they might have other goodies in them beyond just nectar. And besides, we also lost a few flower Pikmin in the process of defeating this. So yeah, we can actually very quickly build up our flowers again. There's something I'm really worried about in this particular dungeon. I don't know where it is, and that's part of the problem. So yeah, occasionally... Oh, there's stuff happening over here that I was completely unaware of. There's also a spray over there, so we'll have to check that out in a moment. Reconvene with Olimar to demonstrate this glitch. So let's head over here, and also we have to recover all of our Pikmin. The red liquid you see contains refined ultra-spicy essence. 1 drop contains 1 dose. Press 2 to spray this extract on your entire group. Have you tried it yet? So the way this works is you have to position one captain by the spray. Actually, I don't want to collect any of the enemies, so we'll move the Pikmin group over here for the time being. So yeah, basically, position one of the captains by the spray, as close as you can, switch to the other captain, and dismiss also. Push the captain into the spray and then walk into it yourself, and you should get 2 with 1 drop. I feel like this definitely trivializes some aspects of the game if you have too many sprays, but also this game is rude enough that I don't mind. Again, we haven't gotten to what are the odds of getting both in the same floor? So let's once again dismiss the Pikmin and see what this is like. The purple drop you see contains refined ultra bitter essence. 1 drop contains 1 dose. Use it on hostile creatures, approach the creatures, and press 1 to spray. Have you tried it yet? This is even better luck. This is way more helpful than the spicy spray. So once again, let's swap over to Louie now, push Olimar into the drop, and then drink to get 2, which is very good. I actually wanted 2 for this day because of something coming up later on. So just finding 2 here is actually really helpful. That means we actually don't necessarily need to go after more of the berries today. We can simply focus on the main objectives if we wanted to. Or we could take time to build up some more bitter spray. Again, it's actually very helpful. We'll see it probably in the next dungeon. Why am I missing all these throws? I swear the GameCube version had slightly better accuracy in some ways, partly because of the, I don't know, something about this version, I feel like I miss throws a lot. So, if I actually need to fight something seriously, I will usually swap over to the overhead view, because it makes it much harder to miss targets. But yeah, I feel like it's a lot less reliable, compared to Pikmin, on GameCube. Even though in a lot of ways I do prefer the motion controls, like being able to call Pikmin from, the entire width of the screen, that's great. But in other aspects, I do feel like I prefer the GameCube version, but I also fully admit that that could just be nostalgia, because that's the version I grew up with. So yeah, who knows, maybe it's just nostalgia, maybe there are some merits to playing one version over the other. But either way, both versions are actually very similar, but there are a couple differences, some typos that were corrected. The first treasure should almost be back. We have a can of chestnuts called the Patience Tester for 130 Pokos. Also, I was just thinking about how the double spray glitch with the drops also wasn't fixed in this version, which in a lot of ways is actually kind of nice, because again, it makes things a lot easier. And we have the Memorial Shell for 100 Pokos. Because of the snitch bug, I am going to take some time to try to build up our flower Pikmin again. I definitely didn't expect one to show up right there. I feel like another enemy is supposed to show up on this floor, but I might be confusing it with the next sub-level. But yeah, I thought an enemy was supposed to drop down from the ceiling or something, but I may be confusing it with something else.